Welcome back, everybody. We're diving into The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston today.
Oh, this is a good one.
You all shared how much you love the ideas this book explores, and it's right up our alley, too. Love, time travel, self-discovery, how they all kind of blend together.
Exactly. It's like on the surface, you think it's just going to be a fun romance.
There's so much more. And what happens when you get a glimpse of the future?
And can love actually work outside of, like, normal time?
Right. So we follow Clementine as she inherits this, well, it seems totally normal at first apartment in New York City from her Aunt Analia.
But of course, it's anything but normal.
Yeah, it slips back in time.
And that's how she meets Iwan.
And the apartment is not even just random time travel.
No, there are rules.
Like,
Always take your shoes off at the door.
okay, but all right.
But this one's a biggie, never fall in love in the apartment.
Ooh, yeah, that's going to be tricky.
Especially since Clementine and Iwan.
They fall for each other.
But it's not like insta-love or anything.
It's slow, it's over shared meals.
Late night talks, you know.
And Iwan, he's this aspiring chef, and he really believes food is its own language.
Like a way to connect with people.
He even says this great line, "The perfect meal isn't about the food itself, but the memories associated with it."
I love that line. It says so much about him and about how the author uses food in the whole story.
Totally. Like, remember when Iwan talks about changing his career path after tasting his grandfather's Palms Frites?
It wasn't the taste alone,
It was the memory.
the feeling it brought back.
Like, the best meals have stories in them, shared experiences.
Woven in.
And that's such a big part of Clementine and Iwan's bond.
For sure.
They're from different times, literally.
Yeah, but they find common ground over a good meal.
Pasta, pie, anything.
Exactly. It's like food becomes this bridge between their worlds.
It shows how even something simple like sharing food can bring people closer. Okay, this is where it gets complicated because she's from the future.
Right.
She knows how Iwan's life turns out.
She knows he becomes this famous chef.
Right now, he's just a dishwasher.
Talk about a recipe for disaster.
It's so tense. She wants to support him, but...
She also knows what's coming.
And will it change things if he knows?
Makes you wonder, is knowing the future a good thing or bad?
Especially in love.
Right. Like, does the Iwan even have a choice if she knows his destiny?
It's like she's holding this secret that could change everything.
The book really dives into the ethics of time travel.
Whether you should interfere.
But it also shows how beautiful it is to just live in the moment, even if you're scared of what's coming.
And we can't forget, while all this time travel stuff is happening,
Right.
Clementine and Iwan are also growing as people,
For sure. Clementine starts out so work-obsessed.
consumed by her career.
But slowly, she rediscovers this passion for painting, something she gave up years ago.
Like, she's not just inheriting an apartment from her aunt, but
A whole new way of looking at life.
that free spirit,
And Iwan, who's so driven to succeed, he learns that connection matters too.
that success is better when shared.
Exactly. It reminds us that the best things in life aren't always about achieving something big.
But about the people we have along the way.
The 7-Year Slip is so clever. It mixes romance, time travel, all these complex relationships.
It makes you think about fate, about second chances, and how powerful love can be, even across time.
I love that. It's not just falling in love, it's how that love helps them become better versions of themselves.
But before we get into that more, let's talk about that rule about not falling in love.
Oh, yeah. What happens when they break it? What are the consequences?
And knowing that, does it change how Clementine and Iwan act around each other?
That rule, the no falling in love thing, it's creepy, right? Like, the book doesn't say what happens.
No, it doesn't.
But it feels like bad vibes, you know? Like something went wrong before with Clementine's aunt, maybe her lover.
Yeah, it's like this shadow hanging over them, making things even more complicated.
Totally. They're drawn to each other, but it's like they know it could be temporary, too.
Because of the time shifts.
Yeah, makes you think, how would you act if you knew your time was limited?
Would you hold back? Or just go all in?
Big question, and it's definitely weighing on both of them, especially Clementine.
She's dealing with so much. Losing her aunt, not knowing what she wants in life, plus knowing Iwan's whole future.
Right.
You mentioned before that Clementine finds her way back to painting.
Yeah.
How does that fit into her self-discovery?
It's huge. She starts off feeling so lost in her job.
Like it's expected of her, but not what she wants.
Exactly. It's how she reconnects with herself.
There's that scene she's in the bathtub, surrounded by paints.
I love that scene.
It's like she's washing away her old life.
So powerful. It's like sometimes you got to get messy to find yourself.
Break free.
And it's interesting how her painting and Iwan's cooking, they're kind of the same.
both creative.
Sharing who they are with the world.
And they both find inspiration in ordinary stuff. Clementine just needs a brushstroke, Iwan needs a good recipe.
Shows you don't need fancy things to be creative.
The everyday can be magical too.
Exactly.
Okay, but we got to talk about the elephant in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Clementine knows Iwan's future.
Big time.
Does that mess things up? Does she have too much power?
It's definitely tricky. She's always trying to figure out what to say, what to keep secret.
She wants to help him,
But she knows what's supposed to happen.
like walking on eggshells, you know?
Makes their relationship even more intense, I think.
They fall in love, but they know it might not last.
Because of the apartment and because their lives are going in different directions.
It makes you wonder, can love really exist outside of time?
Is their connection strong enough to beat fate?
That's the core of the book, right? And it doesn't give you an easy answer, but
It hints that some connections are just deeper.
there's that scene Clementine says, "Someone broke my heart," but it's so much more than just a past relationship, right?
So much more. She's talking about what could happen with Iwan, the heartbreak waiting for them.
It shows how much she's risking, even knowing it might not work out.
It takes a lot of courage to love like that.
To choose love even with the possibility of pain.
Exactly. And speaking of choosing love, there's this beautiful quote from Iwan.
Oh, yeah.
He says, "Food is a work of art." That's what a perfect meal is. Something that you don't just eat, but something you enjoy. With friends and family, maybe even with strangers. It's an experience. You taste it, you savor it, you feel the story told through the intricate flavors that play out across your tongue. It's magical, romantic.
That is perfect. You can hear Iwan's whole belief in that quote.
It's not just about eating, it's about connecting,
Sharing stories.
creating moments.
And that's how their relationship grows over these meals.
It's not just the food, it's the feeling around it.
The unspoken things they say to each
Their
other.
love is simmering right alongside the food.
But it's not just about romance, right?
No.
The book talks about family, friendship, how those help you deal with change.
Totally. Like Clementine, she draws strength from her aunt's memory.
That free spirit.
It helps her be brave and follow her own path.
And her parents.
Yeah.
Even though they don't always get along,
It's
they
complicated.
still love her. They're there for her.
It reminds you, we all need that support system, people who cheer us on.
And her friends, Drew and Fiona, they bring the fun. They keep things light, but also give good advice.
Showing her she's not alone.
It's interesting how the book shows family isn't always perfect.
Yeah, Clementine and her parents, they clash sometimes.
Different expectations, misunderstandings.
But the love is still there.
It's real, you know?
It is.
And through all these relationships, Clementine figures out how to be herself.
To take chances.
But before we get into that and the big question of love transcending time,
Right.
I want to shift gears a bit. Talk about the apartment itself.
Oh, yeah, it's not just a place.
It's like a character. How does that affect the story?
Oh, totally. It's like soaked in history, you know? And it has this energy, this magic that affects Clementine, Iwan, everyone.
Like a silent witness to their story.
Exactly.
I love how the author describes it, all those details.
Yeah, the creaky floors.
The smell of old books.
And the light, how it changes throughout the day.
It's like cozy but kind of spooky at the same time.
Familiar, but with secrets.
Especially about Clementine's aunt.
Yeah, that adds to the mystery for sure.
And it's not just inside the apartment. The city itself is important too.
New York.
Yeah, the author really brings it to life.
The busy streets.
The parks.
Those iconic landmarks.
It feels so real and timeless too.
It gives you this feeling of possibility, like anything can happen.
Which makes sense for a city that never sleeps.
And it also shows the difference between Clementine's world and Iwan's.
Hers is so fast-paced, modern.
And his is more, I don't know, nostalgic.
It's like they're in two different versions of the same place.
Connected only by this magical apartment.
It's cool how that ties into the second chances theme.
Oh yeah, New York is all about reinvention.
People come there to start over.
To become someone new.
Which is exactly what Clementine and Iwan are doing.
In their own ways.
There's this line, Clementine says, "I didn't want to be the same girl I was last year or the year before that. I wanted to be someone new."
I underline that one.
It's so relatable, that urge to grow, to change.
To leave the old you behind.
It reminds us that change is going to happen, whether we like it or not.
Sometimes you gotta embrace the unknown.
See where it takes you.
And that's what the 7-year slip is all about.
Taking risks.
Going after your dreams.
Loving even when you're scared.
But it's also about accepting what you can't change.
Learning from your mistakes.
Finding the good stuff, even when things are messy.
Like when Clementine learns the truth about her aunt's relationship.
With Vera.
Yeah, it wasn't the fairy tale she thought it was.
That's important because it breaks down this perfect idea of love.
Clementine has to face the reality of relationships.
That they're not always easy, they don't always have happy endings.
Sometimes the best thing you can do is let go.
And that brings us back to, can love really last beyond time?
Does it have that power?
The book doesn't say we're sure, but it does give us hope.
Like that letter Clementine finds from Vera years later.
It shows that love can stay with you even when the relationship is over.
That some connections change you forever.
It's that kind of connection that makes the 7-year slip so special.
It reminds you to appreciate the people you love.
To enjoy every moment.
And to be open to unexpected adventures.
It's a story that'll stick with you, make you think about time, about love, about all the complicated parts of life.
And maybe, just maybe, it'll inspire you to chase your own dreams.
To embrace the unknown.
Create a life that's as magical as the stories we love.
Well said. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into this 7-year slip.
I had so much fun unpacking this book with you all.
Until next time, happy reading, everyone.